voices in the blackest night, spitting tales of emerald light. Myron and Phil with the banter tight, lantern stories taking flight. Heroes clad in emerald light, cosmic battles in the dark of night. Guardians calling from the galactic height, power rings are shining bright. Tune in for the mighty lore, legends that you can't ignore. From Mogo to Sinestro's war, the podcast of Oed gives you more.
Hey, Green Lantern fans, welcome back to the podcast of Oa. This is episode number 265. I'm your co-host, Myron Rumsey, and I am joined by my friend on the other end, Mr. Phil Bova. Phil, we've got some Green Lantern to talk about tonight.
We do. We got all intents purposes Nathan Broom's story here.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So we in this episode we're going to talk about Green Lantern Corps number 8. So when we
Banger.
we last left everybody, the assault on the Starbreaker core and the near the source wall took place, and they kind of sent the Starbreakers packing. So
Back to the castle of the desolate stone.
that's right. And this is one of the last issues that Jeremy Adams is co-writing this book with Morgan Hampton. The next issue, issue 9, is the last issue that the two of them are collaborating on. So they're going to be writing together through the end of the Starbreaker Supremacy, and then they are parting ways. It was something that Jeremy Adams mentioned to me when I met him at Terrificon, and he said, "Don't tell anybody yet, but I'm leaving the Green Lantern Corps book." So
Hmm.
it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I suspect they will probably take two completely different tones and they'll intersect when they need to, but I think it gives them both a chance to write stories without having them do one big sprawling saga. So I think we're going to get back to some more intimate storytelling, at least in the Green Lantern book.
Well, not only that, I mean, it gives somebody else a chance to focus on another book.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I'd
Let-
rather have Jeremy Adams focusing on the other book and have somebody else write Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a lot, plus he's doing Aquaman, and I think I think he's still got his Flash Gordon book going.
Hmm.
But I know
I
that's
don't
wrapping
know.
up pretty soon.
Yeah, it should be close to being ending.
But this issue, you're right. This is very much a Nathan Broom kind of a story. It kicks off with him, and now that he is devoid of emotion as well, he's thinking more clearly, kind of like Guy Gardner has been, and he's thinking more clearly than ever before. And he realizes that perhaps the universe is better off having emotion after all. So he kind of sets himself off on a course heading. When this whole story started, I talked about how I thought he was going to be the Renfield of the story, talking about the Starbreakers being vampires, energy vampires, and he's kind of in that mode. In Dracula, the original Dracula, Renfield, he realizes Dracula's bad, but he's kind of beholden to Dracula. He's under his power. He's so weak-willed he can't manage for himself. Yeah, he kind of tries to warn them, and this kind of is the same thing. So I feel validated, and I'm with you.
Poor Nathan.
Poor Nathan. He's the fall guy here, and we see that not all is really good amongst all of the Sun Eaters. That while Starbreaker's away, some of them are kind of going behind his back. And just as that kind of starts to come to a head a little bit, the Starbreaker and his companion come back to crash landing on the castle of the Desolate Stone near the power battery, and they're a lot worse for wear. And they're kind of like, "Oh, gather the forces! The Green Lantern Corps is coming! The Green Lantern Corps is coming!"
What a cool, I mean, this is cool when you said that. The
Yeah.
Green Lantern Corps is coming. This is awesome.
And then you get this beautiful double page spread afterwards.
Oh, they're the
Pazarin did a
best.
really good nice job with this. You see them all writing the emotional entities and coming full in, and they're coming in hot, right? And this issue, it moved rather quickly. This was all about the fight, but yet there were some good elements thrown in throughout. They're going after them. They basically, this is all out war right here. This is the big part of the fight, and we see them kind of go toe to toe, and the Sun Eaters kind of trying to use the power of their battery. And while all this is going on, Nathan is having those moments of realization that Hal and Carol, he's realized he's kind of gotten in the way and that the two of them really belong because he's had this clarity of thought without the emotions in the way.
Hey, I want to go back to the all the emotional spectrums coming through.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Guy back there. Okay, I didn't see him because that's Sinestro on the red.
Yep. Sinestro's in the red, Kilowog's on the yellow, and
Joe
obviously
Myron.
Carol and Hal are on the green and the violet.
And
Joe is
Joe,
on which one is Joe on? She
he's on
on
the orange.
She's on the orange, yep. And Joe gets, knocked down and off, and Guy rescues her. I kind of wonder if they're setting up a Guy Joe Mullane romance here because they've been kind of chummy the last few times they've been together.
Yeah, and this little interplay between them is kind of cool.
Yeah. So they're trying to do all the fighting and it's a big fight, and we find that the Sun Eaters are able to essentially draw all the emotional energy out of the entities, so they start to fall. Interesting, kind of expected because they're pure emotional energy essentially.
Right.
This is a feast for them, right? Neat to see Hal rescue Carol and pull her out aboard Ion because the Predator is killed, destroyed. And this is what gives Nathan his moment of clarity here when he sees it, and he sees that no emotions clouding his vision, and he sees them together and how they complement each other so well, which is neat to see an outsider notice that about them and comment on it. I
It took
think
him a while. Took him a while to come to that, didn't it?
sure because he's got the benefit of not having all the emotions to cloud his thinking. It's really, you could sit back and really kind of analyze some of this about the value of emotions and how they do get in the way of rational thought sometimes. It's very true. But we see them all fighting, and he realizes at all costs he's got to put a stop to this, and he starts crawling into the battery and he blows it up, and which unleashes emotion back into the universe, destroying Nathan, presumably because we don't see a body. So presumably Nathan has been destroyed. Big air quotes, right? Big air
Right.
quotes. It also basically kills all the entities, which leaves us in a really interesting situation. What do we do without them? Granted, they've been behind the source wall for quite some time. We've seen that they can recreate Parallax because that's how Parallax got brought back again. But I don't think there are any of them that are out there right now that could bring back any of the others. I was trying to think through it. All of the entities are here. So I don't know what this means for the future. Are the entities now gone for good?
I mean, what does that do to the power?
Well, true, true. We'll have to see how this plays out. The other thing is there is another parallax roaming out there.
You mentioned that last episode.
There's another parallax out there, not the entity, but there's an entity infused version of Hal running about somewhere. We have not seen him. Whether that'll ever be brought up again or not, we don't know. But there's certainly a way out and way to get them back again. Uh, and that essentially wraps up the issue. The Green Lanterns, they get back on board the Interceptor and fly back to Oa. Not with their tails between their legs, but obviously beaten and battered through this battle. And the Starbreaker Corps are left behind as well. And it's now an all-out fight between the two of them. And they're going to go to Oa and they want to put this to rest forever because they now want to draw energy from the batteries that are on Oa right now. And then we do get some follow-up with Kelly and Krona's gauntlet. Interesting that we see Kelly back to normal, waking up in a bed. Because when we last saw her, she kind of had gotten glazed over, all possessed by Krona
Right.
with Simon Baz. And it sets up a really interesting thing where Simon Baz is now infected with Krona.
That's a cool shot at the end.
Yeah, yeah, really neat. So
I mean,
Krona is
I don't
back.
like Baz, but this is probably the coolest we're gonna see him.
This is the best thing ever done with Simon Baz, it seems.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with this going forward. But we're down to, well, how many issues are left? Let's see. There's Green Lantern Corps this next week, and then there's one more after that. So there's two more parts to the Starbreaker Supremacy.
What's it finishing? Because it continues in GL 27.
Yep, and then it wraps up in Green Lantern Corps number 9.
Gotcha.
So I thought that, this issue moved rather quickly, but this is given where we are in the story arc, it's not surprising because we're right near the end and there's only two parts left. So it seems like there's victory, but at a great cost.
Oh,
And
I thought it was a great issue.
yeah,
Like you said, it did move pretty quickly, though.
to me, this was the most enjoyable issue of the series so far. To me, I mean, there's been some lulls for me, but this one was good. It was impactful. There was a lot going on. It seemed like impactful. There were events in here that seemed to matter, at least right now.
What about those covers, man? That cover was
Oh,
awesome.
the covers were just amazing. Again, another V. Ken Marion amazing cover. Just trying to find the interlocking one, but I don't have it here in front of me that goes with it. Oh, here it is. Oh, this isn't the interlocking one. Those are the other two. Never mind. No, no, is this the one? Nope, this is not the one. I was thinking of how this one intersected, but it isn't this issue it goes with.
Gotcha.
But V. Ken Marion doing a great job on the covers. I love his cover work. We talked last episode how we weren't too thrilled with his interiors, but his certainly his covers are spectacular.
What do you think of the Green Lantern Corps logo on the front cover?
I'm all right with it. I mean, it kind of flows when you look at it back to back with the Green Lantern logo.
Hmm.
They kind of flow together, so I'm all right with it. What
Okay.
about you?
Yeah, I like it. I think it's cool looking. I'd like to get a patch made with that. That's pretty neat.
That would make a neat patch. I agree. I agree. Um, since this is a pretty short episode because we've only talked about the one issue, I did want to talk a little bit about Deadpool Batman #1. Did you end up picking it up?
No, I couldn't muster it. I was just like, no, I'm not going to.
It's got Batman in it. I can't touch it.
Now that you sent me that text, and I was like, okay, well, that's a deal breaker. I ain't gonna pick that up and bother with it.
I picked it up because I was really excited about the idea of a Rocket Raccoon Hal Jordan team up written by Al Ewing. And the problem was my expectations went up because I'm thinking I'm playing out in my head all of the kinds of stories you could do with Rocket Raccoon and Green Lantern together. And I'm not saying it's not a fun little thing, but I wouldn't call it a story because it was only 2 pages. It literally was 2 pages. And it's played for yucks more than anything else. I mean, this whole thing is like the DC and Marvel universes are coexisting. And in this story, the Guardians of the Galaxy and the Guardians of the Universe do an exchange. We're gonna send you one of our team, and you send us one of your team, kind of as a cultural exchange kind of example. So it's Rocket Raccoon and Hal gives his ring to Rocket Raccoon,
Huh?
and yeah, he gives his ring to Rocket Raccoon before he goes off to join the Guardians of the Galaxy. We don't see anything of what happens to Hal until the last panel. The rest of it is all about Rocket Raccoon in the second pages where you see him kind of redoing certain things. Like you see him in Ollie doing the Hard Traveling Heroes, and they're in a casino. Um, and then they're stealing from the casino.
Imagine the potential if they were to put some work into it.
Right, right. And there's a scene where the Guardian kind of says something to Rocket Raccoon because he shoots somebody and kills somebody. Uh, and saying it's not working. And they're like, we need to come pick up their guy. And Nova is on the other side talking about Hal being a problem. It's like, sure, if you pick up your guy. And the punchline is that Hal Jordan has gone to the Marvel universe without a power ring. And the last panel is Hal as Parallax with a Thanos gauntlet. And he's defeated Thanos and the Marvel universe is in tatters. And he does a beware my power shtick.
God.
It's not unenjoyable, but I wanted a true team up. I mean,
I mean,
there's
if
some
you just told the whole story in like what, 3 minutes?
right, right. I would have liked to have seen like I don't know what's in the other issues because I think there's more than one issue with this. I think it's a 2 issue thing. I would have liked to have them given some breathing room. Kind of like the amalgam stuff. I would have liked to have seen each one of them get their own little book.
Yeah.
That would have been far more interesting. But I thought, well, okay, I didn't realize how many backups are in this thing. There's like a whole series of stories, and I didn't read the rest of them because I didn't really care about any of the other stories. I did read the Captain America Wonder Woman story, just because I thought that's a cool team up. Wasn't thrilled with the story, but it is what it is. I had expectations, and that's my biggest problem as a fan is when I have expectations, when I go into anything, whether it's a movie or a comic or what have you, and it doesn't meet my expectations, I'm left disappointed. And I don't want to say it's bad, but if you're really only interested in the Green Lantern stuff, I wouldn't spend $7 on it for 2 pages. Then
Well,
Deadpool Batman, I mean, two of the most overset comic saturated characters in comics right now.
I mean, what's the title rate with Batman? I think they own 8 of the 9 titles that are released every week.
And it's because they sell, right? That's the thing is they end up selling.
There's some, what I see, some Aztec Batman title that just got released. It's like, oh my God, man.
I think that's an animated movie, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't care. You see so much Batman, and then of course now they're talking about Matt Reeves' Batman coming out, and then Gunn's talking about who's going to be Batman in his universe. It's like, come on.
Ah. In the meantime, like Green Arrow can't keep a series. I don't know if you heard, but his title's being canceled.
Oh, wait, his book?
Yeah,
What the hell? Why?
it's not selling. Apparently, it reached whatever the cutoff point is, and basically Scott Snyder said it's not sustainable.
That's so, wow. I guess that character just goes goodbye. That's
Tabled
kind of
for a
sad.
while.
I mean, that's
They'll
kind of
relaunch.
sad.
They'll relaunch next year with a new number one.
I mean, at
Right?
least you could do is kill him off or something, you know.
Yeah, I don't see him doing it. I think they're gonna not have a book with him in it, and they'll find other
Well,
ways to use him. He is going to be in an upcoming issue of Green Lantern. So
it gives him some room because they dropped dropped that other title too. Didn't they cancel that other one? Red Robin or whatever it was. I don't know what it was.
Red
The
Hood.
one with yeah, Red Hood, right?
Yeah, they canceled Red Hood after the first issue came out, and then pulled the issue back.
And now everybody who owns that issue is like, oh my gosh, I own that issue.
Yeah, it won't be worth anything in the long run. But
I don't own that issue, by the way.
I don't want to get into all of that stuff. But
No, we ain't gonna play that game. Forget
play
it.
stupid games, win stupid prizes. I guess.
This isn't the place for that.
No, nope. So anyway, we've got some listener feedback. So let's pause for a few minutes, and we'll come back and hear what you guys have to say.
Listen up, Lanterns. It's time you took the oath with Green Lantern John Stewart. In brightest day, in blackest night, don't let the podcast of Oa escape your sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light.
Our first message is from Cloned Avenger, and he has some comments about the upcoming Lantern show and the Kyle Rayner era. Transmitting in 3, 2, 1.
Jeremy Adams' run has definitely been fun. I'm glad he is such a genuine guy. Can't wait to see him back on the show. I completely understand why you probably won't be watching Lanterns. I'm still going to give it a chance, even if I don't agree with Hal being so old. If the rumors of it having Atrocitus and Black Hand in it are true, that could make it a lot of fun. I do, however, worry about them giving all of Hal's epic stories to John, which definitely would be insulting to us Hal fans. But time will tell. Also, I just finished the original Kyle Rayner run. The last issue or two I found terrible. Kyle coming back to Earth after a few months only for him to find Jen cheating on him with some guy in his shower was wild. As well as Major Force returning and pretending to kill Kyle's mother by shoving her in an oven. Apparently it was a mannequin. Kyle doesn't even check to see if it was actually Mother. He blindly attacks Major Force and ends up giving up his ring to him, only to get it back in a moment of clarity. He also severs Major Force's head and leaves it floating in a green bubble construct in space. Mind you, Major Force is alive with just his head. What did I just read? Well, at least I enjoyed the majority of the run, LOL.
Clone Adventure, great to hear from you again, my friend. Hope all is going well in your corner of the universe. Jeremy Adams is definitely a genuine guy. I think you phrased it perfectly well. I find him to be one of the nicest creators, and not that I've met a lot of bad creators, but he's been one of the genuinely nicest guys I think I've ever interacted with. So yeah, I agree, and I can't wait to have him back on the show. I've got to follow up on a couple of conversations with him and get him back on here. But definitely want to have him back on. Maybe once Starbreaker Supremacy gets over, or as it gets closer to ending, we'll chat with him about what the future plans are and so on. I don't know about the rumors about Atrocitus and Black Hand. I don't know if that's true. If it is, I'd be rather underwhelmed with the kind of casting choices they're making, but I'm not thrilled with the creative decisions tied with this series at all. So I'm not surprised no matter what they do. But I won't be watching it. I can tell you that much. Uh, and the ending of the Kyle Rayner run, I think DC got themselves into a bit of a problem. Kyle had a good 10-year run, but he got to the point where he started out being the new guy trying to live up to a mantle, and he got to that point, and then the DC really didn't know what to do with him, and the sales started to lag behind, and they thought, maybe we'll bring Ron Mars back, but the writers they had near the end, and I can't even remember what the name of the guy was who did the run right before they brought Ron Mars back, but it just didn't sell well, and so the ending with Major Force, I thought it was a nice way to bookend that whole run because Major Force is obviously a major player in Kyle's initial story. So to see him deal with him at the end, I thought was appropriate. But yeah, I don't know what I think about Kyle Rayner cutting off Major Force's head and leaving it floating off in space. But at least you enjoyed the majority of the run, which is good. Good for you. I'm glad you enjoyed it because you hate to see somebody do something like that and read a run and then find out you really didn't like it, especially a run as long as that one. That was a 10-year run. So, yep, I get it. Phil, do you got anything to add?
No, but you're not a big Kyle Rayner fan.
No.
I read a lot of Kyle Rayner, so I remember that run. I thought it was decent. I mean, I don't know, looking back on it, I can understand why I read it. Doesn't mean like he's my favorite Lantern, obviously, right? Because there's others that are way better than that. But at the same time, he has his place at the table, you
Right.
know. And I hope moving forward they do something with him prominent. I mean, he deserves to do something.
They should have stopped there, but
I got you.
all right, Powering, give us the next piece of feedback.
The next message is from World at War Comics, who is expressing some thoughts about the upcoming My Adventures with Green Lantern animated series. Transmitting in 3, 2, 1.
My fear of the new series, My Adventures with Green Lantern, is that we are now going to get a high school K-pop version of Jessica. That will then seep into the comics. All for stories that can bring in younger readers in the future, but this can be very far from the comics history of Jessica. Also, we are getting a McFarlane Toys Jessica Cruz.
Hey, Donnie. Yeah, K-pop version of Jessica Cruz doesn't appeal to me at all. I don't know if I'm gonna watch this or not. I've only seen like little snippets of what they're doing with that, and I don't know if I'm into it. Are you? I don't. My Adventures with Green Lantern. It doesn't look like something I'd like. I don't think.
No, I'm not even remotely interested
But
in a
I'm
K-pop version of Jessica Cruz with a boyfriend named Kyle Rayner going to Hal Jordan High School. No, thank you.
I just I don't know what they're. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we question things all the time, but like, I mean, I question what their target audience is. What's the purpose of this? I mean, who are you trying to reach? You know what I mean? Like, I
They're,
mean,
they're
comic
out.
book readers, you try to reach new readers, and it's hard to do as it is. I mean, your faithful
Mhm.
readers, the ones that have been around a while, are your those are your go-to people because they're going to buy it all the time, right? Like we do with Green Lantern stuff.
Right.
But when you're out there marketing, I mean, Batman, you don't have to do anything. You just put Batman on, and you could put Batman on this sponge right here, and it would probably sell for 10 grand on eBay. Well, my point is, who's their target audience for this? I
Holy
don't understand
markup,
what their
Batman.
right. I don't understand what their purpose is with this. I don't know. I question that kind of like if I would have sat in on that, I'd be like, I'm sorry, who is this geared towards? This isn't something that I think.
It seems to be geared towards a much younger audience, but if the idea is to draw them to the comics are nothing like the show. So you're not going to get that synergy, right?
Right.
But nothing that they seem to be doing. Like think what you will of Gunn's universe. He's not really, when it comes to some of the creative decisions, not sticking to air quote canon.
Right.
So it makes it, I don't want to say difficult, but it puts DC Comics in a position of, well, if this is really successful, do we need to change the comics to reflect what's out there? Because if we get an audience coming to the comics, they're going to expect what they see on the screen. I mean, we saw that in the 2011 Green Lantern movie for sure.
Mhm.
We've seen that in other things too. So, did superhero girls bring a sudden flood of Jessica Cruz fans? Not at all, because there wasn't any printed material that reflected what you saw on the screen.
Right.
So it's not there for them. If anything, you need to adapt what you've got in your comics and make it true enough, but you can still make it appeal to younger audiences. I look at Green Lantern the animated series as such a perfect example because it distilled what was in the Jeff Johns run, but made it youth friendly. So it echoed what you saw on the printed page, but it was still a highly successful. Granted, yeah, I know it lasted one season, but it was still highly successful in terms of ratings and demographics. If it wasn't for the fact that there was no toy line, if there had been a toy line, that show would have carried on longer. But that was
No.
just the economics of it.
Here's something that I would propose. A cartoon, Green Lantern Corps cartoon based on Oa, an elementary school
Uh-huh.
where these kids are going to school. You could have Hal, you could have Kyle, you could have them all young, and then you got Kilowog as the teacher, and you got Sinestro as like a professor. I mean, that's just right there. I mean, that would be awesome. I would watch the crap out of that.
I kind of sometimes feel that when they do some of this stuff, they think the audience is stupid, so they dumb the material down to make it super kid friendly to the point at which they're talking down to their audience. But maybe that's just me as an adult looking at it through different eyes. Because we live in a world where Bluey is a big thing and some of those kinds of things. So maybe we're just old grumpy old men that
We
where's our
probably are.
cartoons?
I think we are. World at War, we are. But I am going to be buying that Jessica Cruz.
I didn't hear about that. Did they announce that recently?
I haven't. I'm going to have to go look for it
Yeah,
since I read this.
I didn't remember seeing anything about it. So thanks for shouting it out if it's a real thing. Power Ring, give us the next one.
The next message is from War Lion. He has some opinions on various elements of the Green Lantern franchise. Transmitting his message in 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. When it comes to lanterns all over the DC books, I think it works for many people. But like everything, it won't work for everyone. I know people who can't stand reading a GL book with Hal, others with John, and that mindset exists for all of the GLs, so giving these people the option to read who they want to read, without forcing them to read about the characters they don't like works. And technically it gives us Lantern fans room in the books to see alien lanterns. Let me put it this way, putting John on JL, Kyle on Titans, Simon on JL Red, and Jessica in any team book, I can't think of any book that can include her RN. Gives their fans their time with the characters, while it leaves more room in the core book for more alien lanterns. Whether it's 4 aliens getting the same attention as the 4 humans were getting in the book, or even 1 or 2 aliens who get to be explored well, similar to how Tomasi's Corps had issues that focused on dynamic duos of aliens because there was enough space to see Kyle and Guy messing up and getting these alien stories. This isn't for everyone, for sure, because people realistically don't have the time, energy, and maybe money to get all of that. But the point of these books isn't to be bought by all Lanterns fans. You might think of that as a stupid business approach, but it's a well-known approach for the big two. Tom Brevoort was just talking about it when he was asked about how his X-Men line is so big that it's almost unaffordable for many fans, more than 13 books. As for Hal and Aya, I think DC should do an arc in GL or a spin-off mini focusing on the version of the animated story that happened in the main continuity, since it can't be one-to-one as Carol was still a newbie. Sinestro wasn't discovered as a renegade GL, and all of that coincides with the discovery of the Spectrum, which happened way after Carol being a Sapphire and Sinestro being a Yellow Lantern, and there are many details like that. Sure, the main plot can fit in within a period like the 1-year gap in Johns' run, where Hal was a Russian prisoner for a while, or even at any point during the Johns run when they were messing with the anti-monitor, but it still needs explaining because of the minor and many differences. I was discussing Parallax with Mark Marble recently, and we were talking about how Ion was originally Hal's green battery powers that were left there after he died, and with the retcons of the entities being a thing, then Hal being more powerful than Sinestro, as Parallax comes from Hal possessing both Parallax and Ion, which coincidentally could be true, considering that Ion is a passive entity, so it wouldn't have influenced Hal, which would still explain why Parallax was able to control him and make him do what he did. Hopefully that didn't bore you to death, and you can still have the willpower to keep doing what you're doing for the Lantern fans.
Warline, good to hear from you again. Hope you're doing well as well. See, we both are doing pretty well right now, so that's great. I know I shouldn't have said it out loud. But you echo a lot of the things that Phil and I have talked about in terms of the plethora of Green Lantern characters that you almost need to split them up, and put them in different books. And John in Justice League, Kyle on Titans. Simon right now is in Justice League Red. Jessica's been in the Green Lantern Corps book. If they want to keep her in that role, I don't think it suits her. I think she's better off out there somewhere doing something more interesting. I think making her desk bound doesn't do her any favors because that's not where the action is. So there's less focus on her. How do
Well,
you give her a story?
you can't flesh out her character. I mean, she's not.
Right,
I mean, any Jessica Cruz fan is going to know she's not a leader. I mean, but okay,
right.
let's take it with a grain of salt, with a little bit of, you know, writer. I guess whatever writer wants to come along and say, well, we're going to change this, we're going to do that. And now she's the leader of the Corps or whatnot. Now, I'll see past that, but at the end of the day, it's still no character development. We haven't seen her do crap almost this whole entire, Starbreaker event. She's not even in the forefront of it. She probably didn't even know what's going on. It's like she's gone all the time. I
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
know.
she was out there in the fight, but you didn't see her do anything significant. She was basically
No,
relegated to the background. But that is the struggle, right? How do you do justice
right.
to all of these characters with them in the same book? You really need to give them some breathing room if we're going to invest in having this many Green Lanterns, and it looks like we're not losing any anytime soon. Then if you're going to have all these Earth Lanterns, you're going to have to split them out because you're not serving their fan bases. And if you try to give them all a little bit of the spotlight, nobody's really going to be happy.
I don't know. I think you could do a good writer could flesh out. I mean, if you take Hal out, right? Let's say Hal and John, just for the sake of argument, Hal and John got their own book. And then all the others you lump in another book. A good writer could parcel that out and tell a good story with interweaving story arcs with these characters.
Right.
But it's somebody who has to flesh out a good plan. And
Or
it's got to be an investment too, right? Because
Mhm.
DC's going to have to say, well, we'll sign you up for 6 books, and be like sitting there going, well, I can't tell that in 6 books. I need to do it in 12.
Right. Or what if you gave Jeremy Adams a backup in each book and he wrote somebody else's story in the back? So you had two characters in Green Lantern and and then the Green Lantern Corps book with another backup in it. So at least you've got a little more. You're separating them out so that you're not bound to use them all in the same plot threads all the time.
Well, here's a better idea. Take on some other writers and have them write backup stories in your current books.
Sure, sure.
Keep them at the same price, but, you know, market them that, backup stories included, and then you can start the people that do read those books consistently. Hey, they'll read a backup. So there's been plenty of backups or like preview stuff that has come in the back of books that I've read that has led me to read those books. I mean, it happens all the time.
Or
Now, I'm not
gi-
saying it's going to happen with everybody, but geez, it's a small ploy you could do to get on new readers.
or give us a freaking anthology book.
Get a better
Um,
chance of finding democracy in America than that.
And yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with
Which
Helen Aya. They have not had any kind of meaningful interactions yet. If I have one disappointment in Aya being brought back, it's in doing that, is in her not having a significant interaction. So I hope we see something by the end of this story. If not, when you look at the solicitations, Aya seems like she's going to become a character in the Green Lantern Corps book ongoing.
Well,
So
I'm gonna say this: if they kick her to the back, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna say that right now. That's not gonna be cool to bring that character like her back and then to kick her to the curb and put her at a side tier.
right.
I don't want to see her riding some whatever in the background, wielding whatever she's wielding, and then not have any frame time. She needs to be
Yeah.
at least have a role.
But that's the ever present problem we have is so many characters. Somebody's got to not get focus time.
Man, we forgot about Razor. Let's put him back with the Reds.
And he brings up an interesting point in talking about, we had a conversation in a couple episodes back talking about Parallax and why Parallax was stronger when he was paired with Hal than versus when he was paired with Sinestro. And he mentions that, he was talking with Mark Marble from Lantern Cast about how Ion was originally inside of Hal's battery. So perhaps when Parallax merged with Hal, it also merged with Ion, making him that much stronger. Which,
Good point.
yeah, I can buy that. Hopefully, buy
tracks.
that.
I like that. See,
Yeah.
you make the Lantern fans come through.
That's right.
Anybody else but a Lantern fan.
That's right. All right, Powering, give us our next message.
Our last next message is from Temple 277. He has some comments about Krona and the current Green Lantern series. Transmitting his message in 3, 2, 1.
I'm interested to see how Krona becomes the next villain after this event, but I assume it's only going to be a thing in Green Lantern Corps, since Adam's Green Lantern series seems to focus on Hal and Carol moving on, like I said in the last comment you guys have read from me. But we'll see. As for Lanterns, yeah, recent news, as of the time making this comment, said that they're only going to mention lore and name check stuff, aka tell don't show, awful decision, and that we're going to see how Hal Jordan and John Stewart are when they're out of the job, without the outfits. That's a horrible premise for a GL show. Best media for GL and other characters is balancing the secret identity and the hero identity, not just doing one of those. I really don't get the majority of this show's horrible creative directions. Holy! This makes me even more worried for another favorite franchise of mine, Aquaman. The way Gunn has been joking about Aquaman in the past doesn't bring me any hope for how they treat him. They could adapt parts of Dan Abnett's, Jeff Johns, and more, but instead they'll probably do Aquaman as Birdie. Again, not really hopeful about this universe post-Superman. I'm sure the Superman sequel will be great, since the first one is great too, but outside of Superman, it doesn't seem like this universe will understand much characters in general. There's Lanterns. That awful-sounding Huntress show that sounds so bad not many know it's going to be a thing, and Authority has been handled badly thus far. So yeah, overall, not hopeful for it, unfortunately. As for the Atom series, I'm glad to hear that he's staying for a long time. I feel like no one at DC currently, outside of Dennis Camp or Ram V, could do such a good job at writing a GL series right now. That's my question to you guys. Which DC writer would you guys pick to take over after Adams? I think it's Dennis Camp, after seeing him praise New Frontier and Grant Morrison's run on GL on Twitter back in the past. But who knows? I just hope Jeremy Adams finally marries Hal and Carol, explores that well so it sticks, and then we can see some new writer like Dennis Camp take over the book and tell some great stories. Let me know what you guys think. Wish y'all a great rest of your day.
Tempos 277. Great to hear from you, friend. I don't know whether Krona is going to become the next big villain. The way it sounds is that this Krona subplot is here for this story only. Based on what we see in the solicitations, there's no mention of Krona whatsoever. So I'm wondering if Krona is going to just be a part of this story and that's it. I don't think it's building a plot for further down the road. Although I could be completely wrong. But I get the impression, at least my gut tells me, he's not going to be sticking around and he's not going to be the next big bad. I think these books are going to kind of, I don't want to say part ways because they're always going to be connected, at least tangentially. But I don't think they're going to be intertwined story-wise. And I think they're each going to go and tell their own stories. And I don't think Krona is going to be necessarily a big part of it.
Who do you think's going to end up with the gauntlet? You think Baz is going to keep it?
Nope, I think it'll go back to Kelly. Didn't mean to have a spit take there, but
Fine. All right.
and you're echoing a lot of what we have to say about, or at least about what I have to say about lanterns, is the creative decision making is, but I'm concerned about what's going to happen with a lot of these characters as they get brought to the big screen and the small screen together. And yeah, I agree. I'm glad that Adams is sticking around. Who would we like to see take over after Adams? It's a great question. Uh, I I like your picks of Ramsey and Dennis Camp. I think both of them would be good. But I don't know who else at DC other than maybe Josh Williamson. What about? I'm not reading that many DC books, so I'm not really.
Josh Williamson's he does a Superman.
Yep, I'm just not really sure who else is writing for DC right now.
I don't know. I mean, Josh Williamson does good on Superman, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if he fits for the Lantern title. That's the only book I read.
I'd be fine as long as it's not Tom King
Yeah, I don't want him writing it.
and Mark Waid. I don't want either one of them in a book, on a Green Lantern book.
I don't.
If I had my dream picks, unfortunately, Darwin Cook is no longer around. He would have been the person I would love to have seen tackle Green Lantern. But if I was looking outside of DC currently, I've always wanted to see a Kurt Busiek Green Lantern run. Kurt Busiek, who has done Astro City, but he's no longer really doing a lot of work for the big two. But I really enjoyed his storytelling, and I've also always been a fan of J. Michael Straczynski. Not a fan of what he did with Spider-Man, nor did I like the Superman Walking America thing. But given free reign on a cosmic universe, I don't know whether you ever watched Babylon 5, but he was the architect for Babylon 5 and did this big, before it was a thing, a 5 season story arc that he brought to TV, and he was the showrunner and he wrote most of the episodes. And I just think he would do a fantastic job. But I also think he's leaving comics behind him a little bit. He's still doing some stuff for Marvel, but he's moved to England and he's trying to do some TV writing over in the UK.
Hmm.
What about you, Phil? Do you have people that you would like to tackle Green Lantern?
I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing Venditti come back to do it.
Yeah, if he was given free reign, like his Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps run was so much better than his initial Green Lantern run, and a lot of that was because editorial left him to his own devices. He struggled sticking the landing on some of his stories, but I always thought he had interesting premises, Relic aside. But again, that was his first lead-off story.
Other than that, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see somebody new take it on. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, somebody new that I wouldn't say knows the lore, but respects the lore. How's that?
somebody who might actually read the books and find out about it and
Well,
educate
I'm not
themselves.
asking. Yeah, I mean, if a good writer's going to research, and that's just, I mean, that's just the way it works. I mean, I went through grad school. I know how to do it. You have to research things, and if you're going to develop a good platform to speak your mind on, you should research what you're going to speak it with. You know what I mean? So
You
at the
should.
same time, I hope somebody that comes along at least does some kind of backstory research into things, or at the very least, if they're going to tie onto a story arc, make sure they plug the holes. Because there's nothing that I can't stand more than plot holes in everything. I just don't like when threads are left open.
Well, and I think the thing that the mandate would have to be to whoever it is you've got to stick with the established lore. You can't just go off and,
Right.
you know,
Do whatever you want. Like this person's ring can like make toilets, and this person's ring, this person, I don't know. I mean, I don't mind the unique design of a ring per the player, but I don't, the unique ring thing doesn't concern me.
right. That was
I
my
don't
big
buy
problem with
that.
Far Sector was you had a writer who didn't know the lore, didn't really respect the lore, took the very basic pieces and created a whole bunch of new stuff that doesn't stick. And now it's all
Well,
gone because they brought that character to the main continuity.
to me, you lose the entity of the character, right? I mean, the ring is only as strong as the character that wields it or the person that wields it. I mean, so at the end of the day, you can sit here and argue semantics. Who's the better lantern, John Stewart or Hal Jordan? Well, that's cool. You guys worked that out. just letting you know they're both on even keel because the ring power doesn't change, right? So they're going
Right.
to have to use their ingenuity or their creative devices to, come
Right.
across each other.
I just want them to get away from the anybody can pick up a ring and throw it on and use it garbage.
Yeah, I miss when it used to choose, it used to fly off and
Well,
choose.
it used to choose, but not anybody could just, you couldn't do, like if the ring fell off somebody, you couldn't just pick it up and use it.
Right,
You
right.
know, I think we make it, if we make it so that anybody can do it, then the uniqueness of the character's abilities falls to the wayside.
Well, not only that, but the ring itself. I mean, the ring is a character too.
And
It would
even a
lose just
step,
that.
yeah. And the writers can't just, do their own thing and make up these really stupid decisions like, making Hal 60 years old all of a sudden or something like that.
And then there's that. Shame on you, WB. Or not WB, that was DC Studios. Shame on you, Gun and Saffron. I wonder if there was like a meeting they all had, and this was his idea, and anybody shot back. Well, why are we making Hal 50 years old? Or 60,
60.
whatever it is. I
How,
wonder if anybody chopped that back. And then I wonder if like Gunn said, "Well, hear me out," and then he told him what his plan
uh,
was, and then the guy was like, "Oh, okay, I take it back." So you could be that guy that might have to put your foot in your mouth. You never know.
I don't think Gunn had anything to do with it.
No,
I think they were developing the series on their own, and then he basically said, "Okay, we can go with that," and approved it. Because I don't know as if he had to approve it, to be honest.
well, that's true too.
But
I don't know how that works. I'm below that pay grade.
but whatever. Yeah. All right, Power Ring. Why don't you tell everybody how they can be a part of the show, and then we'll be right back to wrap things up.
You can become a part of the show by leaving a message up to 1 minute long on our voicemail line. Call us at 406-POD-OA. That's 406-763-6362. You can also email us at podcast@blogofoa.com. We'd love to hear from you.
All right, welcome back. Episode 265. Here we go. We're done. Next up is I guess the next Starbreaker episode. This one we're fighting on Oa.
Yeah, yeah. The next episode will definitely be the next issue of Green Lantern 27.
That's cool. Is that next week? That'll be next week.
Well, the day you and I are recording it, we're recording this on September 22nd. It actually comes out, I believe, this week.
Can't wait to read it.
So yeah, it should be really good.
Yeah.
As we're recording this, 264 hasn't released yet. That's in the process of being edited, and so then I'll be jumping in to edit this one, so it'll be a cycle. So we're trying to get to like weekly content is what we'd like to get to. It just depends on how long my stamina will last.
Try it.
We're gonna make the effort.
We're gonna try. That's all that matters.
That's right. That's right. All right, friends. Well, thanks for joining us for another episode. We'll be back in a week or so. Until next time, keep that power ring charged, take care of yourselves, and make every day your brightest day. Take it easy. Thanks so much for watching this Green Lantern video from the blog of OA. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can find even more great Green Lantern videos, reviews, podcasts, and more at our main website, www.blogofoa.com. So until next time, keep your power ring charged and make every day your brightest day.